So, you got yourself a big old Jeep, or maybe just a small Jeep, or any kind of Jeep, and you know, maybe you don't have the luxury of getting a tow rig and being able to tow your rig everywhere. Well, that means you're probably going to want to drive it on the highway if you ever take it to events that are far away, like me. I like to go 3 hours out to Pennsylvania for some of my trips. Sometimes, or most of the time, when you go on the highway, you'll notice that the vehicle feels like it vibrates at a certain rate of speed. You know, it could be as low as, you know, up to 30 miles an hour. It could be, you know, higher, 60, 70. So, you know, the faster you can go without vibrations, the luckier you are, I guess. So, generally, that's caused by some kind of imbalance or something that's loose somewhere in the drivetrain between the axles and the transfer case. So, we're going to take a look at our drive shafts, and I'll show you what to check on them, because I know that one of my shafts is giving me some vibes at 60 miles an hour, and it's a little annoying to drive it on the highway, and I don't feel like disconnecting it for long trips. But that is an option. If you want, you can disconnect your front drive shaft and then, you know, reconnect it when you get to the place you're going. Trail rigs don't have to worry about this because they don't ever have to drive on the highway. So you can get away with a lot more if it's a dedicated trail-only rig. But let's go underneath and poke about, and I'll show you some stuff. So, I'm going to show you how to check out your drive shaft and see what's going on with it. So, obviously, for those of you that don't know, the drive shaft is the shaft that drives your vehicle. It connects the transfer case to the axle, so that makes your wheels spin and all that good stuff. So, the drive shaft spins at a high rate of speed, and in order for that to stay smooth at angles, because the axle moves up and down in comparison to the body, we got U-joints that take up that extra movement. But there's also another thing that happens. The axle also moves forward and backwards as it goes up and down. So we need a slip joint to take up the different lengths. So this goes in and out, and there's a grease fitting so you can grease this up. So the first thing you want to check is that your drive shaft is tight. So, with your firmest handshake, go up and down. If she moves at all, well, you've got problems. So first, generally you'll come over here and take a look at the U-joints. So you'll shake it all around and you'll try to look for movement. If you see the U-joint moving in comparison to the cap, then your cap is a little loose because your bearings are probably toast because they're not greased. So you check that side, we check this side, because we got two U-joints over here, but I don't see any movement. You might have left and right or up and down movement, but they look solid, they're not moving. So what's my wobble? Well, here at the slip joint, of course. I don't know if you can see that, but it's hard to keep you still and make the movement happen. But what's happening is the slip joint is wobbling on the drive shaft. We got wobblies, and it doesn't look like much. It's only the littlest bit, but that's enough to give you a vibe at 65 miles an hour. That's all it takes. Just the littlest little movement. Now, let's say that this is tight and the U-joints are tight, but if you go over here and shake and you notice that it's moving over in the differential end, that your yoke is actually moving up and down, then you're in for a hell of a surprise, because your pinion bearing is probably all fuckered up, and you're going to have to get your axle rebuilded, or if you're not into that, swap an axle. But luckily, it's just a drive shaft today. So, as for comparison, I just want to show you over here, this drive shaft I rebuilt recently, and it doesn't move at all. There's like maybe the smallest amount of play, but that's to be expected. This doesn't shake, it doesn't move, it's freaking solid. It does not go anywhere. So you should have a drive shaft that doesn't move, alright? She should be nice and tight. Alright, so what are we going to do to rectify the problem? Well, for the slip joint, I don't know if you can fix that. I don't know if you can buy a new stub, or if it's the seal, or what causes this ridiculous amount of play, but fuck it, you know? Let's go big or go home. We're gonna go get ourselves a heavy-duty drive shaft. So So, you've decided that you are going to get a custom drive shaft built. You're not just going to get a replacement. Well, you are going to have to take a measurement then to figure out what size drive shaft they will have to build you. Especially with lifted trucks, you know, it's not always the same length, so it's always best to measure and see what your exact, you know, specification is. We're going to do something called measuring center to center. And what that means is the center of the rearmost U-joint over here, I think, no, back here. This one over here, we're going to measure from the center of this U-joint all the way to the center of this. And what this is telling us is what the total length of the drive shaft is. So by doing that, you can then tell this measurement to the drive shaft manufacturer, and they can make you a drive shaft with that length. And what they're going to do is they're going to make sure that the slip joint is somewhere in the middle of that, so you can go a little bit shorter and a little bit longer. It's important that you get this measurement on the way to the vehicle, so you want to make sure that it's, you know, sitting on its tires, and this is the normal ride height. That is important, because if you're up on a lift, and then your drive shaft might be extended or shortened depending on how your axle moves, and that'll throw off your measurements. So you have to do this while it's on the ground. So we're going to take our ruler and put it somewhere in the halfway point. You'd obviously want to do this with two hands, but that is the center of the U-joint over there. And then you come over here and measure, if I could show you. But I'm just going to tell you right now, my measurement is 32 3/4 inches. So I will tell them that I need a 32 3/4 inch drive shaft from center to center. So that way they know you took the measurement and you did it right. So once you tell them that, they can make you one. Let's take a look in the mail, shall we? So I got a tube in the mail. Tubular dude. Oh, nuts. This is gonna get messy, isn't it? Oh. At least I can't say it wasn't underpacked. Looks like I'll need my other hand for this one. Ooh. Well, ain't that just party? Oh, nice guys. They even put some tape so that the caps don't fall off. They know what they're doing. And I see some blue seals. These are Spicer joints. So that's awesome. P051, but I'm not sure that's the number. And it has a grease fitting. And it's a Spicer H-yoke as well. Nice. So, this is an Adams drive shaft, if you couldn't tell. So they had a killer, and I mean absolutely killer eBay deal. I was a little worried because, you know, why is the price so low? But, you know, after checking out their website, they're, you know, as good as Tom's Wood. I've heard lots of good reviews for either of them. I've never really heard any bad about either of them. So I figured, you know, this guy right here was $235 shipped off eBay. All right, if you try to buy this off their website, it's $265 before shipping, with another, I think, $15 shipping charge. So, you know, if you can save yourself over $50, you know, that's nothing to complain about. And the cool thing is, this, I do believe, comes with the longer slip joint. It's got the full, I think, 5-inch slip joint, where if you get a Tom's Wood, you got to pay extra for the slip joint that's longer. So, you know, quality and price, that's kind of hard to beat. And they come with, if I'm not mistaken, grade 10 bolts for your transfer case yoke. They are 12-point, though, so that's usually not a problem. Almost all sockets are 12-point anyway. Hopefully that's not an issue, but I like the look of this. So I just wanted to take a quick look, and holy crap! Look at the size of that slip joint. That is beautiful. That's actually really fucking cool. That is humongous. Oh yeah, she is a winner. And I like where they put this because it's closer to the yoke, so it might not get beat up from rocks and stuff. That's very cool. Alright, let's go outside and compare this to the old hunk of junk. Okay, so you've seen what beef looks like. So now let's get rid of this, you know, Slim Jim of a motherfucker. So, in order to take this drive shaft out, we have 4 bolts. You got 2 on this side of the caps, and you got 2 on the other side. So you're going to take both those, I think they're 5/16 bolts out. Take these little straps out, and then this side should be free. On the other side, you've got bolts that go from the yoke into the drive shaft. You're going to want to take them out. And these are a pain in the ass because you need the smallest wrench you can possibly fit, and this takes fucking forever. And then once all those are out, our drive shaft should be free. Sweet. So 2 tips for getting these yokes off. First off, you can put it in 4-wheel drive. 4-wheel low might help with the torque. And second off, when one little wrench isn't enough, you grab a second one. This is a very cool trick. So you're going to take the box end and put it on the side you want to go so that it locks in place. And now what you've effectively done is doubled your leverage, and you can break your bolt free with a smaller wrench. Ain't that cool? So we'll take all these 4 bolts out, and then she'll be free. Alright, so I just wanted to show you the difference between these 2 drive shafts. So if you notice, the thickness looks about the same, but I believe that this is a thicker wall tube. It's like double the thickness or maybe more. But everything else looks pretty much the same until you come down here and you notice the big difference here. So this is due to ginormous slip joint in comparison to this guy. That's as far as this goes. Doesn't go any farther. It's only got like maybe that much amount of spline, and that thing just goes between here and here, and that's it. This one, the whole thing is a spline, and this is a whole receiver, so it just all slides in and out. So you've got tons more travel there from stop to stop. So that's awesome. Sweet. So now we can collapse this and install it. Alright, so now installation is reverse or removal basically. You take your tape off the U-joint caps so you can put it on there. But if you haven't replaced these in a while, you probably should. They say to replace these every time you take them off, but if you're doing work to the Jeep and you have to take these off constantly, you can reuse them a couple times. But these are soft metal. I don't know what strength these are, but they're kind of weak. You can strip the heads pretty easily if you keep, spinning on and off. So get yourself a U-joint strap kit and replace them old buggers, and they'll last you a couple turns. So now you basically just put this in. Okay, so now we can focus on putting the bolts on back here. Now, if you notice, these bolts are a lot smaller than the old ones. The old ones were 1/2 inch 6-point. These ones are 5/16 12-point. And at first you might think that that's a downside, but what makes this nice is now I can use my fancy-dancy ratcheting wrench to fit in here and just keep frickin' tightening these, and you don't have to keep going on and off and on and off. You just keep sliding this thing and it fits in there. So, I mean, this one's too loose for the ratchet to actually work, but now I can fit my fancy wrench in there and make this 5-minute job into like a 30-second job. So, I like that. That's cool. Alright, so once these bolts are nice and tight and ready to go, you can move up to the front and tighten these guys. Now, a quick tip. I would recommend using a 6-point socket if you can, because these bolts are a little soft, and when you're cranking on them, it's easy to deform them. And once you fuck them up now, they're 10 times harder to take off later. So do yourself a favor and get yourself a standard 6-point so that you can put some more torque on there without bending the crap out of them. So, there you go. Now we got a drive shaft. Now if you wanted, you can put a little bit of grease into the slip joint here until you see it starts spewing out of that little hole, and your drive shaft's set. So now if we grab this thing, oh yeah, she is tight. Oh, she ain't going nowhere, baby. Now that drive shaft's so tight, I can actually feel the slightest wobble in the transmission bearing over here. But that is a lot better than it was before. So now we should actually be able to go on the highway and do speed without shaking our teeth out. Cool. I like it. I like it a lot. This is a beautiful shaft. I got it for a great price on eBay. I'm very happy with it. This is nice. They use quality U-joints. They have a big slip joint. They have a nice paint. And all around, it's a really nice job. I'm very impressed. I am happy. So I think the last thing to do is to really just drive it and make sure this thing works okay. Alright, well, I got back from one of my trips, and I got to drive this thing for a while on the highway, and I tell you what, oof, it is so much nicer now. It's so much smoother. I can do 65 to 70 without any issues, and I could push it up to 80 if I wanted to, which is not something I like doing, but if I needed to, I could go that fast without too many issues. It starts to vibrate just a little bit around the 70 plus mark, but I tell you what, that front drive shaft is holding up great. So yeah, A+ to that Adams drive shaft. I'd highly recommend it. It's beautiful. It took you know, a little bit of trail abuse, nothing crazy, but I'm more than certain that that thing could stand up to just about anything you could throw at it. So yeah, I'm very happy with it. So, you know, hop on eBay or even just go to the regular site and get one. If I ever have to get a rear one, you know, if this rear one ever, you know, poops out, I'll probably get another one of the Adams shafts. They're awesome. So, yeah, 2 thumbs up. Good stuff. Sweet! So, now we can enjoy highway trips again. Yay!
Don't get shafted by other companies. Buy an Adams drive shaft today.